well, all the many aspects of our economic realities that beset us. All right, well, Nigeria info. And this is me honestly hoping that somehow you surmount and you prevail over whatever challenges or obstacles and you have a good life. Believe me, I mean that, except now I'm wondering what can that even mean in today's definitions. But I'm hoping that, the things that money cannot buy are yours. Like you're truly rich. You're rich when it comes to the things that money can't buy. Because, of course, there's an aspect to life where you need money for things. And then there's the aspect of your life where money isn't necessary because they come for free. Now, one, it would require a set level of depth and knowing to truly know what you need for life that money can't buy. And I hope that you're rich in that regard so that the only conversation we're having is how, the president needs to make better policies to best suit the older generation, the current generation, and the future generation. Okay, with that out of the way, welcome to Sunny Side with Radioactive. It's another Monday. It's 31 minutes past 12. My name's Joyce. Welcome to Nigeria Info. The sun rises here. Isn't it interesting how the sun never truly fails to rise in its season? It truly rises, and we probably should make the best use of this rising. I guess we have to also, in a sense, metaphorically rise with the sun to duty, to responsibility, and I guess as we have it now, conversation on Nigeria Info. So our first conversation this hour, we're going to look at a report by the Vanguard. And this time around, I think it has an economic implication, but I think we should take it from a more social economic aspect. It's about malnutrition. And I don't even know what you know about malnutrition, but this would probably be an opportunity to draw to consciousness the side effect of a seeming straightforward economic policy. So the economic gist is that whatever the difficulty is economically, food prices are going up. And, the common Nigerian is being priced out of the food market. And so you know what that means. It's that probably what you would normally eat is not what you're eating. And even worse, while I was reading about the Naira for crude deal that now pretty much is maybe the most common conversation everyone is having at the moment, again, I'm forced to contemplate the economic reality of that. There is how we moved from, I think, about less than 300 Naira to what we're paying right now, about 1,000 Naira on fuel, or maybe less than 1,000 Naira on petrol, and how that immediately transformed all our lives. We went from bad to worse economically. And what the government is doing about it remains to be seen. Now, the Vanguard is reporting the manufacturers are reporting a record loss of 90.6% rise in the cost of sales. Now, this is probably not even news to you because you're either in some sense within the food chain, you're selling an end good, or you're somewhere in the middle chain of manufacturing and supply, or maybe you're even just a manufacturer. In many instances, we may be speaking to importers. But as long as you're trading with the Naira and you're within the Nigerian economy, this is touching everyone, including consumers, because the power of your disposable income shrinks. It even appears like it's dying out in a sense, Okay, so I'm going to share that with you. And I think what we should look at this afternoon on the show is malnutrition. And I think you probably don't even see the direct implications just yet. I promise to weave the tale together just to furnish you a very colorful representation of what our conversation will be in a moment. After that, I truly would love for us to segue into, I've been wanting us to talk about what Nigeria has done for itself since colonialism. I've had that conversation lingering in my mind for the longest time, but we probably would do that maybe sometime tomorrow, except you insist we do it today, Otherwise, I think we should look at the internet. So now there's a new scientific report saying that as the world develops in every sense of the word, the internet, which has become democratized and has now found its way into the palm of every Nigerian, the scientific report suggests that we're getting duller, we're getting more stupid, we're becoming less intelligent as we use and integrate the internet into our daily lives. So we need to look at that, and I would love to hear your thought on that, whether you think, yes, this is something we need to be careful of. I don't even think there's a stop in it, because the way their entire mission is appearing to go, it's as though those who have the means and are the creators of this new world order are not creating a world for humans, they're creating a world for robots or artificial intelligence. So it's more moving the humans to a corner and creating space for the integration of something new, which pretty much is the fourth industrial revolution, the integration of human and machines. And you're probably already aware of that. Okay, good. But the internet is making us... Now, it's funny because you would have thought that the internet makes information free, reachable, and you don't even have to think anymore. You can just ask Chat GPT or any other of the lot when it comes to artificial intelligence that's talking back at you and giving answers to question and attempting to dig up whatever it can find within the archives of the internet and furnish you with answers. You would have thought that people will become a lot more intelligent, but the science is stating otherwise, that we're becoming more dumber, and what would happen eventually is that the human as a species is maybe going to become inferior to robots. One, because you're not as intelligent. Two, you're dependent on the robot, or you're dependent on AI, and the consequence of that is your brain will rot, you'll become inferior, and eventually, if science indeed goes on with the thought of giving robots autonomy, you may become subdued by the robots. Don't terrify yourself. It's the scientific fact. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but first let's go for a very short break. We'll be right back. There's so much you would love to hear on the sunny side this afternoon. Welcome, my name's Joyce. We're Nigeria Info.
What's that station again? No.
Here's one thing you need to know about yourself. So like here we did talk.
Yep, bullseye. That's the one.
You're listening to 99.3 Nigeria Info's The Sunny Side. The Sunny Side. Welcome. My name's Joyce.
Okay, so let me share with you what's out, what I have on Vanguard. This is speaking to, I think it's manufacturers reporting, but this is for all Nigerians with the Naira in hand. Manufacturers record 90.6% rise in the cost of sales. The Nigerian manufacturers are counting their losses to the drastic macroeconomic changes being, executed by the federal government of Nigeria. A key element of the difficulty has shown up in cost of sales, with leading manufacturers reporting 90.6% surge in their just released 2024 financial results. The cost of sales stands for the direct expenses incurred in the production of goods and services sold by a company, and it includes the cost of raw materials, logistics, energy, and other manufacturing expenses. And I would love to stop here and quickly just say that if you're a manufacturer in any sense and at any scale, since the last two, because, when we initially had the conversation, there was, of course, the expectation that things will change, cost of goods will rise, as is the experience today. But we do not have, then at least we didn't have a 2-year forecast of what the implication of subsidies gone and how that would impact businesses today. And I think maybe this is an opportunity for a first-hand account as to what your experience is as either a middleman somewhere along the food chain, top or bottom. What has happened with, at least from your experience, that you think is a function of how your business may have been impacted by the Nigerian economic policies. And I'm adding to this a report by UNICEF saying 1.3 million Nigerians could face or are at risk of malnutrition. Now, the reason I am choosing to merge these two conversations together is one, because one has a bearing on the other. According to Vanguard, their findings show that the sharp increase in cost of manufacturing has forced many companies to adopt aggressive cost-cutting measures, including layoffs and price adjustments to stay afloat. To be honest with you, I'm actually surprised that somewhere in all of this, and it's not their fault. I'm not necessarily blaming them. I'm just saying that one of the many implications of inflation on goods would be not having options. So if you go to the market, I'm not sure what your shopping basket used to contain back in the day. You go to the stores and you would have variety. You would have alternatives. Lately, all your alternatives pretty much have shrunk or disappeared. Now you have what you have. At least it would appear as though you can have it or you can't have it. And now we don't even know what that means. But at least we can say our money can only buy this much these days. And with UNICEF reporting 1.3 million Nigerians at a possible risk of malnutrition, it suggests one thing. If there are no alternatives, if there are no healthier alternatives, if whatever the cost of production affects spending power or purchasing power, or at least affects options when it comes to goods and commodities, what that immediately suggests is people are not going to be consuming foods that are nutritious to their bodies. And I think you know what I mean. So you say maybe your monthly budget for food is 350,000. You realize, well, you can only buy that much and you have to skip this for that. But even worse, many of the products you're going to be buying from the market at some point, for all the economic reasons applicable, will be substandard. Okay. I wanted to play you a TED Talk, but we don't have time because I don't want the introduction to be so long. I just want to quickly share with you a research I should have shared with you a long time ago. And so I was doing, I was following through scientific documentation on nutrition, and given that we have the benefit of the internet. So there was a research done in 2002 by an Oxford researcher. And what was found is what I would like to just quickly place on your hearing. The participants were divided into two groups. One group received vitamin, minerals, and essential fatty acid supplements provided by, of course, the conductors of the experiment. And this experiment was to test out how nutrition affects human psychology. So basically, the gist of today is that when we eat undernourished foods, it will eventually affect us psychologically. There is a scientific documentation in that regard. And I think I'm suggesting that it's not just our pockets that's drying. Maybe our cells are not developing optimally. I told you a few days ago that it was also reported in the news that the malnutrition that is at least a threat now, given every economic situation we're having, appears to not just affect married women, pregnant women, but also going to affect their children. And if there's a scientific report suggesting that malnutrition or undernutrition is going to affect people psychologically, well, it forces you to contemplate what price do we pay for having an undernourished population. So let's talk. Let's talk about this. I mean, I guess we can talk about the scientific research. But even importantly, I think I want manufacturers and consumers alike to talk about a way forward. I think we have spoken about the problem for too long, and we don't know how to get out of it. But what's even worse is that one problem is creating a ripple effect. So there is the drying up of your economic power. That's one. Two, how within your economy, the goods and services that now are afforded to you are either available, too much you can't afford, not available, or substandard. So you're buying goods that are substandard. And the science is saying if you consume foods that are substandard, it will affect you psychologically. So just from one economic policy, we can almost name 3 to 4 problems already. Let's talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Is there a way forward, and what alternatives do we have with trying to escape I mean, we try not to even talk about the economic problems too long, given that we can't even change the outcomes. But it's not just affecting us on the outside, it's not affecting us on the inside. I think it's necessary to give you the WhatsApp number, 08095975805. And our number is 0201-277-0993. And our female number line is 0201-465-7190. I got a report last week, and it was asking that we got a doctor in to talk about how nutrition may be affecting people, how food affects people psychologically. And so, yes, that pretty much just led us to this conversation on nutrition and how we're not eating what we're supposed to eat and how that can affect us psychologically. Apparently, do you know the science even suggests that if you eat undernourished foods, it pretty much leads to high chances of violence. Did you know that? Well, that's in the science. So let's get to the conversation of the day. Are there alternatives, and is there a way out of this? Is there a way that Nigerians can help themselves? And is there a possibility that there is something the government can do, maybe being forced by the government, the people to do rather? Maybe the people have to force the government to do something that can make the lives or the outcomes of the lives of the Nigerian better. We're talking on the sunny side. I'm going to quickly read this message, or a number of messages actually. This one goes, hello Joyce, hi, how are you doing? Unfortunately, we are ever so focused on our government not doing what our government needs to do. And honestly, no attention whatsoever, no attention is being paid to the impact this is having on society. For example, we're having more people consider fraud, we're having a lot more people consider antisocial things to do in order to gain a kind of living. Even the living of today, even the standard of living today is becoming more inferior and daily being threatened to get worse. To be honest with you, I think being in Nigeria almost suggests that if you're not corrupt, you can't survive. And I'm only 38. I can't imagine what 10 years of my life in this country would be if I don't leave this country now. Thank you so much for your message, Solomon. I do appreciate it. Hello, Joyce. How are you doing? To be honest with you, malnutrition is not even a thought that we're having. And I can see the importance of it, but what can we do? Well, I guess what you can do is get information, because it's one thing to have money. It's something else to know what you should do with the money. I think that many times the idea of having money suggests that you can buy anything you want, but anything is not just good. It's more like, if you have money, there are some things you should do. And maybe if you don't have money, there are some things that you can do to make your life a lot better. But the question is, do you know what you should do? And then if you know what you should do, what are the things you should do? Hello, Joyce. This conversation sounds like a very intellectual one. I don't know whether I can truly say I have eaten enough nutrients to help me psychologically contribute to this conversation. As I'm listening to you, I'm just hungry and waiting for my next check in order to help my life. Unfortunately, helping myself has been my reality in this country. Nobody helps you. Your parents can't help because they need help themselves. You are trying to help. You can't depend on anyone. And the government that's supposed to help us appears to not be listening. I think we're long overdue for a protest. Hello, Joyce, good afternoon to you. You sound like you had a happy weekend. I didn't. I went to the market and I honestly could not believe my eyes. At this point, I can say I'm having anxiety. Maybe it's become a medical condition, but I tend to feel slightly afraid every time I go to the market. Nothing is enough. Nothing, believe me. You can barely buy enough to feed a family of 2. Those who have a family of 4 or 5, I wonder how they cope. To be honest with you, there aren't a lot more alternatives except moving to my village and growing my own food. That's the only option I have. But I wonder whether people consider this, because that may be the way out. Wait, Where are you from? And I don't know whether we should even talk about the possibility of shifting towns in order to grow food. But maybe there's also the fact that people are so used to city life that they do not necessarily consider any advantage to moving back to their hometowns in order to grow food. I think everybody is in the city for what would be regarded as 21st century success, and nothing really is happening in the villages. But if life gets harder, maybe this is also a question I have to ask you. If life gets harder, are you willing to relocate to your village? I mean, you know what I mean when I say harder. Just the economic cost of living in the city. Would you relocate to the city for some relief? You can grow your food, you can live in your father's house and not have to bother about that, and maybe find life from there. Try to make life from there. Hello, Joyce. I don't think anybody is considering the issue with malnutrition, to be honest with you. Not because it's not important. It seems as though we are all drowning in our problems, and the only remedy that we need in this moment is money. Money. There's not enough of it, but that's all we need right now. Money. Unfortunately, we may end up having this money and still be unhealthy. So indeed, this is a very important topic. And there aren't any alternatives except the government fixes our problems. This one is asking for, I don't know, one play. I'm not sure what you're asking for at this point. Do you have a problem playing one play? Whenever I play, their account number used to be a personal number. Okay, I don't have any information for you in that regard. I'm not sure what you're speaking to. So, let me know what your problem is, okay? I don't know what your issue is. I don't know what problem you're having with one play, but if you can let me know, I may be able to just point you in some direction. All right, thank you. Okay, Jonathan says, Joyce, I'm honestly considering leaving Lagos. I have tried and nothing is working. Yes, I believe that if I go back to my village, I would at least have good food to eat. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that I can build a career from there, and that's the only reason I'm still here. I'm truly torn. The only reason I'm not considering the level of my nutrient state is because I'm not dead, and my assumption is if I'm not dead, maybe everything is still good. But I can't say for 20 years from now. This one goes, hello, Joyce. This issue of possibly relocating due to many of the issues arising from poor economic issues or poor economic policies. Honestly, you would not believe that some people don't even have money to go back to their villages. Worse, it doesn't even appear that we know what to do as a people. Honestly, we don't know what to do. We're just living every day from hand to mouth. No planning whatsoever. This is tragic. Okay, this person is tagging me to a post on Twitter, X, and it says, so the writer is saying, Joyce, read this. Okay, and what's Twitter saying? What's X saying? It's saying, if you're a young person in Nigeria and you can afford to leave now. That's the best advice I can give to you. I don't see anything changing. Oh, by the way, have you seen those videos of Nigerians in the UK also complaining about the hardship that they face there? Well, at least I've only seen a number of videos out of the UK. I'm sure it's applicable. Certainly not to everyone, but there are quite a number of people who are having a kind of hardship or difficulty where they are at, in those foreign countries. I'm not sure the conditions that applied when they left home for overseas, but some videos are beginning to show that some Nigerians are not finding it as easy. I think maybe the problem was the expectation. Maybe they left here with an expectation, only to arrive and realize that, well, no, your dreams are not going to just come through like that. You may have to pay maybe a price, a good price for that dream that you want. If you've seen any of those videos, I want to know whether it's forced you to change your mind in any direction whatsoever. By the way, we're going to quickly go from the break. We'll be right back.
More conversation, more talk, more. Right after this.
I said Nigerian, my rice must be premium. I want the stone-free rice. I don't want it gummy rice. That's why I choose Kiara. See, I see this well, Kiara. The aroma, they make me hungry. Oh yeah, give me some. From the east to the west, pretty ladies here. Eat 35 bar and protein. Oh yes, from the north to the south, African king rice can be found. Choose Kiara rice, we don't go let you down. Joy, 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 the taste of joy is here. Pretty lady, African king, very good. Proudly Nigeria and Bogu rice.
Experience the taste of joy with Kiara Rice Mills, makers of Pretty Lady, African King, Proudly Nigeria, Red Eagle, and Bogu Rice. Kiara Rice Mills, the taste of joy in every grain.
Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 #3#. Play with as little as 500 naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning every day on the Morning Crossfire, WhatsApp Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 naira jackpot. Playing during the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same, whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 #3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
For 3 great seasons, the fans have fought with passion and fire, their best they brought. The banter was bold, the debates were tight, each word a weapon, each match a fight. But now it's bigger, the stakes much higher, the battle returns and it's full of fire. Fan Battle 4 with Femi and the gang on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The stage is bang. In partnership with Sports Salon, we raise the game with glory, honor, and a shot at fame. Think you've got what it takes to score? Then step right up.
There's food.
It's time for more. Register now and take your stand. Your time to shine is now at hand.
Registration is ongoing on www.nigeriainfo.fm.
And Battle 4. Let the battle begin.
.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Study. They swapped out prisoners' food for healthy food, and they found there was a 56% reduction in violent crime in the prisons and an 80% reduction if they added a multivitamin. So there's so much nutritional deficiencies. In countries like Japan, they put people on a super healthy diet in prison, and all their violent behavior goes down. Yeah, their diet's totally different. Very kind of healthy diet that gets them completely reset.
Okay, so this is really just a clip. I was watching a podcast, and they were discussing the psychological benefits to nutrient-filled foods. And I don't know whether you know how much of an experiment this truly has been. I wondered why violence, pretty much, particularly in the U.S., were on the rise. And so I went digging. And so what I found was that prisoners were experimented on, and they checked their food. They checked them on undernourished foods and then checked them on nutrient-dense food. And the class of the prisoners that were giving nutrient-dense food ended up being less violent, ended up being better off when it came to social behaviors than those who were on undernourished foods or on foods with poor nutrient. And so the case right now is that people should eat nutrient-rich foods. Unfortunately, if you are in a kind of metaphorical prison where you don't have the economic ability to make better food choices, then you may be at risk of being in a mental prison. We'll be right back.
Allow us to save you the stress.
Count on us for your daily dose of information and current affairs.
You ask for it, the conversation, and more. On Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
The news update on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lagos, we begin in Kogi State, where 12 inmates have escaped from the Federal Correctional Center in Koton-Karfe. The jailbreak happened early this morning. Confirming the incident, Kogi State Information Commissioner Kingsley Fanwo called it unfortunate. He said the security operatives have rearrested one escapee and are working to prevent future incidents. Fanwo added that an investigation is underway to determine how the inmates escaped without damaging the facility. Authorities are also looking into possible internal sabotage, and he assured the public that security remains a top priority. In Imo State, police have arrested 3 suspects linked to the kidnapping of 48-year-old Sabinus Ibe in Owerri. The arrests followed detailed investigations which traced a 2 million naira ransom paid via POS. More arrests are expected. Meanwhile, in Cross River State, a police inspector allegedly shot and killed a woman while injuring 2 others in an unprovoked attack on Sunday. Police spokesperson Irene Ubo confirmed the incident, saying the officer had been acting strangely before the shooting. The Lagos State government plans to redesign the Oshodi Transport Interchange to integrate the rail mass transit system. Transport Commissioner Oluwaseun Oshiemi says the move aligns with the upcoming Red Line Rail project. A site assessment will be conducted to optimize the interchange. Still in Lagos, the government is stepping up efforts to improve sanitation. Environment Commissioner Tokumba Wahab says the state is expanding waste collection and has installed over 50 air quality monitors to track pollution. He also announced plans to introduce 500 tricycle compactors for better waste management. In his words, Lagos is not smelling. And the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has sued President Bola Tinubu over the suspension of River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, and state lawmakers. SEREP argues that the suspension violates the Constitution and democratic principles. The group filed the lawsuit at the Federal High Court in Abuja, insisting that the president's decision undermines the rule of law and citizens' rights to governance. And that's it on the news updates this hour. You are listening to The Sunny Side with Joyce on 99.3 Nigeria Info, and I am Yvonne Ohaifo. Thank you for your time, Lagos.
If news is your quest, or gist your request, well, somewhere over your rainbows.
Over your rainbow!
Is the sunny side.
They better know it!
With Joyce.
Let's talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. And just before we continue our conversation, we want to quickly share some information with you, and then I'd love to read a lot more messages and share with you the outcome of the research that was carried out on prisoners who were experimented on to check for how much nutrients can make for or create a sane society. So if you're living in an insane society, I guess many things may be a factor, but something we haven't given a voice to would be nutrients in our food. Now, I think that Nigeria can be said to become, I hate to use the term prison, but I use it metaphorically, because in the absence of having the economic power for better choices, then you become the guy who was sampled in the prison, who, yeah, you don't have choices and you just have to eat what you find. I think another question is, would you move to the hinterlands? Would you move out of city? Would you move to a village if things got harder? What would your option be? Or what are your options? And if there is a way out of this, what are the ways? Manufacturers who have been struggling with the cost of manufacturing, what has been your thought? Have you even had any thoughts about it? Quitting business, relocating, reducing the quality of products? Hey, because I can understand what the cost implications are. I think we can all understand what the cost implications are. But what is the implication of that singular decision where the quality of goods and services become reduced on a society that should be upward moving, but unfortunately everything appears to be pulling us down or pulling us back? So you think about that in a moment and we'll come right back to the conversation.
Yeah, for 3 great seasons, the fans have fought with passion and fire, and their best they have brought. The banter has been bold, the debates were tight, each word a weapon, each match a fight. But now it is bigger and the stakes are much higher than they have ever been. The battle returns, and it returns full of fire. Fan Battle 4 with Femi and the gang on 99.3 Nigeria Info in partnership with Sports Salon. We are here to raise the game with honor and a shot at fame. 32 of Lagos's finest football fans will be set to contest for glory and write a beautiful story for themselves, with 1 million naira slapped on the top category. For registration, go to www.nigeriainfo.fm, click on the Fan Battle banner on the homepage, and go ahead to fill the mini form, as well as drop a video of not more than 60 seconds with you speaking on any football topic of your choosing. Do this and then click on submit. Fan Battle 4, let the battle begin. Yes, guys, I need you to know that the largest that we have been involved in for the past more than 1 year, actually, it's been more than a year, going on 2 years, actually. I'm being very conservative. One Play is still in the business of putting money in your pockets, and all you have to do is dial star 347 star 880 star 3 hash from your phone. Of course, you could go to the website at www.oneplay.ng and of course make the play there by clicking on the Nigeria Info button, and of course making the paltry payment of 500 naira. Yes, 500 naira per ticket. You can play as many.
Why would you call that paltry?
Yeah, it's paltry, given what inflation has done to us.
Yeah, that's even the more reason you should have called it that.
It's paltry.
Okay, terrible guy.
It is. 500 naira is the value of maybe 100 naira saved.
Yeah, but in the hands of the Nigerian who's struggling.
Yes, I understand that. Doesn't change the fact that this is what our reality is. 500 naira, whether you consider it paltry or not, you can make the play as many as 10 times. You can play as little as once, but make sure you are playing responsibly and make sure that you are above the age of 18 while playing. You're not just playing for the daily winnings, you are playing for the winning at the end of the week. We call it the weekend jackpot. On Friday, the money goes up to the tune of 500,000 naira in total. That is what will be given away on that given day. So make sure you are playing, because playing now qualifies you for the jackpot then. If you don't win now, you can very well find yourself being one of those who wins on that given day. That said, One Play is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission. Keep on playing and keep on winning. It's the smart thing to do.
The sunny side, 8 minutes past 1 p.m. So I have a message here. Hey Joyce, thank you for this conversation. Please, can I ask you, is it possible that nutrient deficient foods is what may be leading to hair loss? Yes. Let me see. You have a good...
I have a lot of hair, so don't look at me.
Well, I wasn't looking at you to criticize.
Looking at me to see if you could find any real life examples.
Oh no. So interestingly, no. If you had lost hair, I would not have even said anything negative, because we're talking about how nutrition is affecting people in society. In fact, what I'm even sampling is what Nigerians think is the way out, given that the economic difficulty that we're facing today is not only affecting pockets, could also be affecting the people
how people
psychologically.
It's affecting how people look. Look, if you can't get protein in your body, if you can't get the right amount of carbs, you definitely would develop differently. And I'm scared for what Nigerians will look like in maybe 10 years.
Let me see.
The general.
When you say scared, who are you scared for the most? Because, I mean, there
the
is
lower rung of society, a class that I come from.
Yeah.
I grew up in a barracks, and my dad could afford milk. Could afford a lot of milk. I could steal milk
that year.
Yeah,
because now milk is sounding
we
like
could
luxury,
afford milk. We could afford egg. We could afford protein, because children need their protein. They need it for muscle growth as they are developing. They need it for brain power. They need all these things, and the cheapest protein in the market right now is egg, and it's going for 300 to 400 naira.
Yeah.
That's not it's not funny at all. When I was a child, egg was 20 naira. Then it went up to 30 naira. Then it went up to 50 naira. Then it did 100, and now it has made the big leap in the last year on to 300 naira.
Did it occur to you that there's an aspect of nutrition that affects behavior? So apparently
it does. I mean
like it regulates your emotion, and your cognitive ability, and nutrition can affect whether a person will end up being criminal or criminal in behavior.
Well, I think the natural nexus will be, if you are hungry, you are angry. That's the natural nexus. But of course, I'm sure there is some, how do you say it now, nutritional
that affects
psychoanalyzed benefit that it affects, maybe affects your dopamine levels, or serotonin. What they call oxytocin, serotonin, your serotonin levels, your oxytocin, those things. I am very, very sure there is something in there. I just don't know it.
Exactly, the letter.
Yes.
Okay, so Lagos, the study suggested that diet and nutrition have a direct effect on behavior. So close your eyes. If you're of bad behavior, well, of many things, your diets may be a predictor of your bad behavior. They say diet also improves mental health. So if you have been suffering,
I'm sure it does.
Imagine when you eat a good meal and how it makes you feel.
Yeah, I'm very, very sure it does. If you have a good meal, you definitely feel good. I'm so sure it does. If there's anything, when you eat well, you feel well.
Can we attribute the common element of the Lagos behavior to malnutrition? That the element being, they're crazy. Like if you're in Lagos, you have to be crazy. Can we attribute that to an aspect of our nutrition that is either insufficient, insufficient, non-existent, possibly?
Maybe insufficient, but of course, there's people you look at, that this guy doesn't eat a lot of meat.
No.
Or have a lot of egg, or doesn't see the importance in it. It's like, he's consuming copious amounts of carbs.
Do you mean how they look as a result of not knowing what good food is?
It affects how you look eventually.
Yeah.
You definitely can put on weight if you don't eat certain things. If you do put on weight, however, it's not the healthy kind of weight you put on.
Exactly.
So
you don't build muscles. You don't have.
You just don't look. You don't look right.
Okay. So I'm curious, because I think I need to ask myself this question, which I have, and I'm going to ask you before I read some messages. The proper nutrient, they say, may help in reducing aggression, improving mental health, and enhancing impulse control. So there is the fact that the economic situation in Nigeria is affecting everyone. And so recently, manufacturers reported 90+% loss in 2024. So that just tells you that whatever commodities are available in our markets,
people just can't afford.
People can't afford if it's available, but even worse, the threat of substandard goods, like inferior quality goods, because those who are going to remain in the business
just have to
can't
make
afford
money
to give you quality goods anymore.
Yeah.
And you can't even quite blame them. Now, the other hand is you have to learn how to give yourself your best choice within the available means. One of the choices could be that you'd have to leave the city to go to the hinterlands, maybe move to the villages. At least you may not have
to farm what you eat.
Yeah, you farm what you eat. At least that way you're eating.
You
but
still need to buy protein. Chicken, meat.
You can grow that.
High quality.
You can have a farm.
I'm not just talking protein. I'm talking high quality protein. Not
if it's what when you say high quality, what grass fed? Because it has to be grass
beef.
Yeah,
good,
exactly.
Well fed chicken.
Let's assume you could do that if you moved out of the city. Would you move out of the city? Because many of the messages I'm getting would be those who are struggling.
I think a lot of people will move.
Moving out of the city.
So the problem with moving out of the city is adapting your entire life to suit it. So you've been trained to work in the city. You've been trained to know how to have fun in the city.
But it's not beneficial anymore, so you have to readapt to your new reality.
I mean, I could definitely see myself living on the countryside. I just know that it's going to take a while to adapt, and obviously what you are going
this
to
suffering
because
has
you don't
taken
have
a good part of our lives.
because you don't know what you're going to do for money, so you probably have to learn farming again,
which is not hard.
No, it's hard. I found
to learn.
So I know it's hard. It's hard. It's very
yeah,
hard.
but you're young.
Physically intense. No, you say you are young.
Imagine the generation that lived before.
You say you are young.
Consequence of eating.
But we also have to negotiate for efficiency. Should I be putting all this effort into something a machine can do for me in minutes?
Well,
so you are looking at that efficiency needs to be spoken for. Also the fact that some people are actually it's a skill, right? Which means you can be good at it and you can be bad at it.
Okay.
So
you mean farming?
Yes, farming.
Then maybe your nutritional issues are probably
some people are just not good farmers, and you could however maybe adapt something from the chain.
Farming that's automated. Practically, it's automated.
But we are talking based.
And you can learn it. I mean, if you can go to school and learn math,
you can learn it and still
you
can learn it and still be not so good. You could, however, adapt it and become a trader in farming equipment, and I don't know, that could work, or be the technician that fixes farming equipment.
There's an advantage to modernity, and I think that the advantage that.
But have you been on the countryside recently? It's like the farming is not tailored towards automation, tractors and stuff like that. Most people are still at the subsistence level.
True. Which is what I was thinking about when I said, well, this is probably something you can do.
When I was a kid, say 20 years ago, when I farmed, in the village, we were doing subsistence. And you think, by now, people have adapted. And then go back another 2 or so decades back again.
But I guess we can actually create machines that can do some of the work, particularly the most tedious part of it.
The machines need to be bought with money.
Look, when I'm saying
which we
relocate,
don't have.
Yeah, but you can... When I say relocate, there are many aspects of this that we can either outsource, we can remodel. Because what are your options at this point? Think about it. Okay, what options do you have? What options? You need a moment to think about it.
Steal.
Good. Oh, he said it.
Come on, robber.
Why would you? Okay.
Of course you know I'm joking, Joyce.
No, but you see, even in the joke is the element of the truth, because there are people who have considered it. Yeah. We have young people who are into fraud. Someone sent me a message last week, said he regrets not going into fraud. So,
you regret not going into fraud because you think fraud is an option. And the truth of the matter is that it says a lot about you if you think it's an option, because a lot of us are going through it and we've not resorted to fraud.
If malnutrition is affecting people psychologically, can you see how that has a straight bearing?
Yes, but there is also the fact that a lot of parts of this country, it's okay to say fraud is a career. Like parents actually mouth it to their children. Oh, do Yahoo. And
it's not just parents. Have you met the youths? They seem not to care for because there are no consequences here. I think the very element of
there are no consequences, and there is just a generally warped sense of right and wrong in this society.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, people think, how people go and say, this guy is doing fraud. They could just convert these talents of theirs into tech. What? Do you even understand what people do when they say they are in any aspect of technology or creating software? Do you think that is a kind of skill that a Yahoo boy has? A lot of these guys are dumber than stainless steel. It's true, and they go and get softwares that help them do phishing scams, and then some idiot who doesn't know, is none the wiser, thinks that it's a skill, is that what they are doing is very, very sophisticated.
There's an aspect.
It's not. You are a criminal. You're just a thief. Good old-fashioned Nigerian style thief. TIFF. thief.
Wait, so that's not even how you spell it.
No, I prefer to spell it that way.
But I think there's an aspect of the intelligence and the labor that's put into fraud that usually those who say you can channel that into something more illegal are referring to.
No, I refuse to see anything good. The aspect of being steadfast. You could be steadfast. It's a mentality thing. You could be steadfast in doing legal work.
Do you know the CIA have they have in the past recruited people like top fraudsters?
Oh, they don't mean the Frank Abagnale guy.
So then that would also be because there's an element of that intelligence, or there was a revelation of this intelligence that was used in this fraudulent scheme that showed that, well, we could use this for quote
and I
unquote
agree
good.
with you.
Okay,
but you see, what we are talking about here is not that sophisticated. Look, you've watched movies, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 11, Ocean's 13. That's sophisticated fraud. That's learning a skill to the point where you want to apply it to illegality. Have you seen these Yahoo guys? They don't actually have real life skills other than downloading phishing software and just getting people who can mimic accents and get them to do romance.
I hear there's an app for that right now.
AI, thank God for. Well, no thanks to AI. It's not. I don't think people realize how low. They are not that smart.
Okay.
They are just good old fashioned internet criminals. The same way you'd see a pickpocket on the street and he just roughs you up and gets money from you. That's exactly what they do on the internet. There is no sophistication to it. I promise you.
No intelligence.
There is no sophistication.
Finesse.
Oh, the problem, the big problem for most of them when they are day in and their day to day is getting clients, getting, seeking out victims for their fraud. It's not a transferable skill to take.
All right.
It's not a smart thing to say that you can.
Here, I think we're in a bottleneck. You're not you don't want to leave the city, right? And what are your options? Fraud. I mean, you said that jokingly, but really, what are the options? So it seems
I
as though
said
you're either
stealing.
Okay, so if we don't
labor-intensive stealing, the type of stealing that you pick up a gun, everybody hands in the air. No, not internet fraud. I don't respect those guys. I'm serious. But if I probably
we're still not at a good place.
Yes, we are not at a good place. I admit that much, but I think there's levels of this thing that I can say, because when you pick up a gun and go rob a bank, your life is at stake. When you finesse an old woman who is 67 years old with a romance scam, there's a different level to that. And then what annoys me is the money they come out with and things they do. Look, the thing about stealing is that there is a general sense, if you worked hard for your money and you stole for livelihood's sake, there's just, we say, you've just said now that they work hard, they put in all this work to get a job done.
They labor.
They labor, but look at the way they spend the money. You would never be able to tell that these people labored for this money.
I totally agree with that.
Because you are a thief. You are just a good
I am not denying that.
Thief. No sophistication to your criminality,
I
just
agree.
a thief.
I agree with that. Now we're speaking to the non-thieves. The economy is hard. The city is getting more expensive. What are your options? Move back to your village.
Leave the city center.
And then go where?
This is something I myself am even thinking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Just leave.
So that's a
just leave these city centers. I mean, look. Since it's
becoming expensive and highly unbearable.
It's unbearable. The mini flat in Yaba, 2 million naira. Are you a criminal? And they have the nerve to ask for 2, 3, 4, up to 5 years in advance because you want to guard against inflation, because they want all their money up front. Whatever the naira decides to do in the future, they think, it's not their problem anymore. And you think, it's a smart thing. Why would you have 6 million naira and it's a mini and it's a
This one goes, "Hey Joyce, hi, how are you doing? I've been suspecting myself. The way I've been behaving lately, this must certainly be the outcome of undernutrition. I'm hardly myself. I can barely focus.
You're always cranky.
Yeah, and I get angry very easily.
Yes. Yes. That's the one.
Joyce, thank you for this easy diagnosis. At least I didn't have to pay a doctor for this one. But as things appear, there isn't any solution in sight. And it may take another 20 years of proper nutrition to restore my sanity.
You don't have 20 years. Between you and I.
We're going to go off on a break, and at least I'm saving the world. We're going to quickly go off on a very short break. We'll be right back with Nigeria Info.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, tasty, creamy and nourishing. E get vitamins A, D, E, B1, B9, B12 and zinc. Now original Nigeria yogurt. I beg you, make una throw a salute for fine yogurt. Beg you, go Jolly Mento with the new fine yogurt drinking yogurt.
Fine yogurt, original Nigeria yogurt.
Suleiman is 11. He rolls a tire under the bridge in Akwonjo. Doesn't go to school. Everybody knows him as the boy that draws under the bridge. We find Suleiman, get him to lead him to his mom, take us to their house, dusty drawer with cobwebs. They open it. Some of Suleiman's paintings, she was smart enough to keep them. Took about 3 or 4 of them, brought them to the gallery. Now, Suleiman would go to school, send his siblings to school. That story of patronage. Yeah.
Plus 234 Art Fair 2025 holds from March 27th to 31st at the Pan-African Center, brought to you by Soto Gallery and Echo Bank. Admission is free.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
How are you? 99.3 Nigeria Info. Hey, Joyce. Thank you so much for this conversation. And it's very concerning how you bring up all these very sensitive issues. And somewhere inside of me, I must admit that my mind doesn't even go that far. I don't even know if this is a case of drowning in the problem, as you said, or being malnutritioned. Now I have too many problems to consider. Physical problems and psychological problems, because honestly, we never truly talk hard enough about how the environment we live in affects us mentally. Thank you for bringing this up for conversation. But what are our solutions? Well, that's me asking you. So do you stay in the city or do you move out of the city? Hold on, let me quickly read a few messages and then I'll have to go to the telephone line. This your topic should be tagged to our government because the malfunction the country, I'm not sure. I think is there an error here? The malfunction the country and everybody is leaving below oh no, you're writing so bad. Could you please rewrite that? I'm not sure what you're trying to say, and every sentence appeared to have a crack in it. Going to the village is not the solution. The hardship is even worse there. Okay. Balanced diet is beyond an average Nigerian's going by the current economic situation. An average Nigerian now eats what's within their reach financially, which is a bunch of nutritional deficit foods. Why don't you fill up your own words? Why are you making me do that for you? It's a case of when desirable is not available, available becomes desirable. This is where a Milocon economy has taken all Nigerians. Thank you so much for writing me. I do appreciate it. And do me a favor next time. Fill up the blank spaces. Hi, Joyce. Thank you so much for having this conversation. You're such a good speaker, and this is the best show. Anyway, about the trend of young Nigerians leaving the country, it's a serious issue that deserves more momentum. The government really needs to think about ways to keep young people in the country, because if nothing changes, who will be left to build the country's future? At the same time, I think it's important to remember that we can be unhappy anywhere in the world. No place is perfect. Sometimes it's about mindset. Home is where you make it, surely. Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, Joyce. Good afternoon, Joyce, the daughter of Onyemuwa. I'm enjoying the discussion. I like you. I love you. Thank you very much. Hello, Joyce. Hi, how are you doing? Unfortunately, I honestly would agree with this conversation wholeheartedly. But why isn't it that the government does even more research on things like this? I guess the research will reveal the gaps that they need to fill. And in our attempts to hold them accountable, research is certainly not one of many things that they are willing to do. We have been crying about the state of the nation and nothing is being done. I can't imagine what a Nigerian would be like 10 years from now given all of this hardship. Honestly, it's scary. And a conversation as this that forces us to contemplate it is even more concerning. Oh, part you say makes it more concerning. My wife just put to bed last year and we're raising a child, but I'm scared with the economy. 3 to 5 years, what will be the outcome? Maybe we should just borrow money and leave this country. But reality is that funds is hard. Whatever you have now is what everyone used to survive. We are tired. Joyce, if that scientific research linking violence to poor nutrition is true, then I wonder what kind of food the politicians in Nigeria are eating, because they love violence a lot. And it's possible for the rich people to be malnourished because of wrong food choices. Okay, so I think you shouldn't look at this through a single lens. The intent to be violent can have like a psychological impact. So, for example, scientists are saying that malnourished foods or foods with poor nutrient do not help the proper development of the human mind or the human brain, of course, which eventually helps the mind. But even worse, that food can make better your mood or make worse your mood. Food or the nutrients in food is a good predictor of human behavior. So now that's an aspect you can look at this from. On the other aspect is the other can be motive and conscience, avarice. A person can be so driven by greed that the very spirit that propels them is a violent spirit. And that would have nothing to do with food. So a person can eat all the food that they want, but if their motive or their intentions, if the way they think, if the spirit inside of them is a violent spirit, they will be violent to you right after they have eaten the best meal. So I don't think this is a kind of situation that you look at the matter through a single lens. But I'm asking, would you move out of the city? So this message is going, Joyce, to be honest with you, I'm afraid of moving out of the city. I don't know any other way to live. Maybe that's the problem most people are having today. Because how else can you explain that we continue to endure this kind of hardship and suffering, no solution in sight, and no plan for it tomorrow? It's as though we wake up today not knowing what tomorrow will be, but hoping to show up whatever the outcome. Hello, Joyce. I'm enjoying your show. Abike was trending yesterday on X because a guy shared his story about his girlfriend pressuring him to do Yahoo to become rich. Who's Abike? I don't know who. Okay, maybe this is just a random gist, right? A girlfriend pressuring her boyfriend to go into fraud. Oh, wow. I think I saw something like that. Okay, this one goes, good afternoon, Joyce. I will love to listen to David more. Well, where is David? I think he told me he's going to grab food. I don't know how nutritious that food is, but we'll figure out when he returns. Hello, Joyce. Great topic as always, but even in the villages, they don't seem to be doing any better. They have the opportunity of growing real and nutritious foods. Instead, we all are after the quick cash. Okay, so this is the problem. I think this is what exactly many people have said so far. Just the fact that living the city and going outside the city to create a life is something people would find difficult. I think David also, in a sense, suggested that, even though he wasn't quite direct with the cash option or the cash statement. So people are in Lagos suffering, and even if they may have a better life outside of Lagos or outside of the city, money, cash in hand, like fluid cash, appears to be the singular goal or the singular objective. And so if everybody is here, knowing that they may have a better way of life outside of here, the only reason people are doing that is because, well, we need money. And, maybe we even have to define needing money. Because how much money do you need to have a good life if you have or can make better or a different type of choice? Have you thought about that? How much money is enough money? How much money is really enough money? So you can have money, get the basics, and this is not me telling you what to do. I'm just speaking on a more general term. So you can have money, get the basics to create a different kind of life outside of the city. Okay, good. And then you can pick up life from there. But it may appear that there is this fear, unspoken actually, an unspoken fear about leaving the city and going to what may be regarded as a primitive way of living. Yeah, a more secluded, more private, more conservative way of living when you can or have been used to being in the city and having the general agenda of chasing the money wherever and how long, the get rich, die trying type mentality. I think that's really why everybody is here. So nobody's leaving. This one goes, no, Joyce. I have considered living, to be honest with you. I have considered living here and going back to my state, Bainway. But the challenge is money. I don't know what kind of life I'm going to live, given that we have lived our lives the whole time with money and for money and buying everything that we need. Now that this is a conversation, maybe this is you asking us to reconsider why we are all gathered here today. Thank you very much. Yes, the reason we're gathered here today is to look at the economy, look at the difficulty in this economy, look at how we're all struggling, all complaining. And we're not going to hit the streets. We're not going to go out on a protest. And so you're going to continue to complain about this. So that's one, too. I guess there are other cities not as developed as Lagos. And I don't know what advantage the cities will have if more people moved there, moved businesses there. Yeah, but the gist is, at least this afternoon, our searchlight is on the fact that the economic decisions or the economic policies that the government's making is affecting people in an indirect sense. And that's rather directly because as manufacturers can't quite manufacture to standard, they create... Oh, by the way, why did I even forget that? You see that gap in the supply chain? So we know, at least according as has been reported by the Vanguard, manufacturers can manufacture as much because of the cost of production. So that's one. Two, now, if they stay in business, the quality of the goods will not be as used to be. Yeah. You see that gap is going to be filled by fake goods. I should have told you when I kicked up the show. The gap in that supply chain will be... This fight that NAFDAC is fighting, we're only at the morning. Now, I truly hope that they win. I hope they win the battle. I hope they win the war because they have to win. If they don't win, if NAFDAC doesn't succeed in removing the corrupt minds that would want to take advantage of that gap will be filled with fake goods. Somebody's going to fill that gap. And so close your eyes and I dare you to imagine what the consequence of that is. The sunny side. Oh, who is this? Good afternoon, Joyce. Thank you for this one. You say, I was the who said... Is it possible that when we write so badly, it could be evidence of malnutrition? Okay, pardon the joke. I was the one who... I guess you mean I was the one who said I regret not going into fraud early in life. All government at all levels, are they not into fraud? All government agencies and organs... Are they not into fraud? See, lack of nutrition is affecting majority of people out here. Most people don't think straight again. As to going back to rural areas to farm, will herders allow us to see results of our farming? Fantastic question. Yeah, because that's also another problem, I guess, being faced by those in the hinterlands where the privacy of your lives is being interrupted, maybe sometimes straightforward, violently interrupted by herdsmen. And I did mention last week the reports coming out of different areas in Nigeria where herders or herdsmen attacking farmers made it to the news. And somehow the sun rose and set on that day and the government told us absolutely nothing. Nothing. You're on the sunny side. It's 39 minutes past 1 p.m. All right, so so this one goes, Joyce, to be honest with you, the more this conversation goes on, the more I truly realize the kind of problem we're in. We are in a multifaceted problem, and the solution, honest to God, is beyond me. I don't know. I don't think any Nigerian knows. Oh well, we're here. Hopefully we find someone who knows. Joyce, migration is as old as human existence. Malnutrition in Nigeria is a reality linked to the nation itself being Malnutrition in Nigeria is a reality links to the nation itself being malfunction. I think you're trying to say something here. I mean, I kind of get the import, but so what? You go to sleep. What are you gonna do about it? So that's the thing. Some of you have mentioned that Nigerians don't know what to do from here. And this conversation is truly revealing that Nigerians don't know what to do. Oh, well, let's try. We'll keep at it for a few more minutes. Hopefully I'll find a redeemer. The messages are a lot. Hello, how are you? Good afternoon to you. If you can hear me.
Hello, Joyce.
Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Alex.
Okay, good. You sound like you're not breathing well. Could you breathe and speak, please, at the same time?
Is that what?
Could you breathe and speak at the same time? Sounded like you were not breathing for a moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clear my throat.
Oh.
I think on your topic, it's going to be very difficult for people to move to the village because of one, insecurity. And based on your topic, it is true because the kind of food people are eating is also adding to the way people react. And the government policy, it is a strategy by the government to make sure people don't feed well, so that when election time comes, they bring that carrot and you submit your birthright to them, and they continue to rule and dominate. This is the strategy of the demonic people in the corridors of power. It is a strategy, and people, I'm telling you, now people need to start reinventing themselves well and think a way out for themselves. Seriously. Because if you continue to wait for the government, they are going to do anything to improve your life. Lie.
So have you thought about this, pardon me, have you thought about this reinvention? Because that's really the question I asked. I wanted manufacturers to speak about how they were dealing with manufacturing on one hand, but even importantly, whether Nigerians have thought about a way out. Like, what's the solution moving forward? Nobody has a solution, and that's terrifying. So when you say reinvention, what do you mean?
Well, I would have given you a hint, but not sometimes say I'm like you're revealing a secret to the demons ruling this country. I hold it to myself and I can share it. Maybe let me just hold it.
Okay, you want to send me a message? I could read it.
A message on WhatsApp?
Yeah.
It might take me time because I'm physically.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling. I really do appreciate it. There isn't a way out. You have absolutely no idea how terrifying that is. So imagine you are trapped in a space and you're supposed to find a solution, which really is our reality. Nobody has a way forward. Absolutely nobody. Okay. I mean, this is as terrifying as it is interesting. You're on the sunny side. How are you? Nigeria Info.
Good, guys. Good afternoon.
Thank you for calling. Hello? I lost you. Hopefully you make it back. The best thing is to maximize how to use the AI stuff. Okay, wait. Is this for me? Joyce, I'm enjoying your show. Abike was trending yesterday on X. Okay, so what's this? Joyce, it is a random gist. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I think I can look at that later. Thank you so much for writing me. I'll look at that later. Yeah. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon to you. You're Nigeria Info. What's your name?
Good afternoon, Joyce.
Welcome.
My name is Adekunle. I'm calling from Agege. And you're asking for the solution to the economic problems we have in the country, if I'm correct.
Go ahead.
The solution would be to vote out those that do not have the right policies to move this nation forward, regardless of whom they are.
Okay, hold on a second. I think you have me a little misunderstood. So I was speaking specifically to manufacturers reporting a 90 over 90% loss, 2024. 2025 isn't better. So we don't know what the outcome will be in 2025. But the implications of that loss is that goods will probably be outpriced from people will not be able to buy goods anymore. And then whatever is available will be substandard. Right? So that's one. It leaves you with the choice of what do you do? Do you stay in the city? Life's hard. Or do you move out of city somewhere else to try to make life? Are you a manufacturer? I don't think you're a manufacturer because you would have spoken about that. Okay, good. So you're a consumer. Fantastic. So there's a place for you in the conversation. So do you move out of the city or do you stay in the city? Do you remain in the city to make a life for yourself? And then what would that mean moving forward?
I'm going to speak from the perspective of a manufacturer.
No, you can't speak for a manufacturer. You're not a manufacturer. That's why I asked you that. Speak as the Nigerian who's a consumer who's spending money.
All right. I think even if you move to the village and you'll find out that it gets to a certain point where the economy becomes so bad that you still can't afford the basic necessities even though you're in the village. So where do you move to after that? So for me, the best thing to do is to require the correct policies, whether through protest or through dialogue with the government, if it's possible.
Okay.
If the dialogue is not possible, we require it through protest. But people have become so docile and just resigned to fate because of probably what happened during.
Final question: if goods are not so, superior anymore, meaning that they're substandard, well, there is also the UNICEF reporting that there is malnutrition threatening Nigeria, and that would mean that we have to take the implications of the poor economic policy on nutrition on a general scale. Okay, so that has taken us to the psychological impact of foods that are nutritious or foods that are under nutritious. And so far, if you are consuming food that's not so nutritious, it's going to affect you psychologically. Where does that leave you? Or you don't know?
Well, the thing is, does nutrition have something to do with the psychological? Does it have psychological implications on the person?
What do you think I've been
told?
Yes, I've been saying it the whole time.
Yeah, I think it does. So we are in a situation whereby a lot of people just eat what they see. And I agree. They don't put into consideration whether they want a balanced diet or not. They just eat what they see because things have become super expensive. So maybe that is how they keep us in check. That is how they keep us.
Yeah, but you can make a choice. I'm asking you to make a choice. If you thought about an option, a choice that can be made, what choices? Choice.
I don't know, Joyce.
Yeah, so this is one of those topics on radio where nobody knows. Okay, and it's fair. Because maybe today is the opportunity for you to start thinking about it. How about that?
Yeah.
Forward or backward, up or down. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've never had a topic on radio where people don't know. I've never, ever, ever had a conversation on radio where people are like, I don't know. Oh, well, I guess we're grateful for the sunny side, if nothing. My name's Joyce. Hello, how are you, Nigeria Info?
Hi, Lady J.
Thank you for calling. What's your name?
This is Ovoli calling from Nikorodu.
Good.
So today's research, is it a thesis or an hypothesis?
Did I ever use the word hypothesis, really?
Okay. Then if it is a thesis, it means very, very soon you start measuring the kind of nutrients or the amount of nutrients your fans take by the level of submissions or contributions we make on your show.
I'm already doing that, and I'm underwhelmed. I'm already doing that. Come on now, don't try to be funny. But, okay, no. Oh, you're so unfair with that joke. But wait, though. But, yeah, I don't know why you think this is funny. Aren't you terrified that you're going to have...
Lady J, I cannot come and die. Allow me to laugh it off first.
Terrible.
So now
for
let's
that.
get back to business.
Okay.
The problem with this whole thing you're saying this afternoon is that even the alternatives are as expensive as the real deal. Remember the last time we were talking about substandard products? I told you about my son, and I said, right now, even the drugs we take are just like chalk. And so even the food, you are looking for an alternative. There's no place you can even say you want to plant if you're in Lagos here. And then you say we should go for those planning to go to the village, I wish you good luck. But even in the village, insecurity abounds. So I have decided, okay, fine. You want to say you want to quit Maggi and you want to turn to soya beans. Lady J, do you know how much soya beans is?
No, I don't. I don't take it.
Good. So let's start doing it. By the time I calculate that, people will say, okay, if you have diabetes, don't eat gari, go and eat unripe plantain. Lady J, unripe plantain is even more expensive than the gari you want to eat. So, God forbid, you might as well die. But the truth of the whole thing is, the alternatives we seek. You don't want to use seasoning. You want to use crayfish. Crayfish is more expensive. Only those who can afford it can afford it. Only those who can buy it can buy it. So the alternative now is quite more expensive or even on the same scale with the real deal. So what do you want?
So you haven't thought about the way forward, like moving forward for yourself now. What have you thought about? Nothing? You're not moving?
Moving forward. When the preferable is not available, you make the available preferable.
Okay, now the scientific research says that consuming undernourished or undernutritious foods affects people psychologically. Have you considered that, or you don't care for that because you can't pay attention to that because you can't afford it?
Lady J, that is the first thing I consider before giving you this call.
All right.
But even in considering that, as it stands now, except we start looking for how to fix this problem, we might as well all in Nigeria be having a psychological problem. Have you thought about that as well?
Well, thank you for really just pointing it out. Thank you for calling. All right, so we call that bold enough to accuse everyone of having this mental breakdown, and maybe the reason my callers sound the way they sound may be because they're undernourished. Good afternoon, Joyce. Did you know that yesterday, while watching a football game, someone called Nigeria Info asking emergency numbers that someone wanted to commit suicide because of hardship? Wow. Really? You know, I think it was about a week ago. Did anybody see the report about a young lady who went off Third Mainland Bridge committing suicide? Did you see that story? Well, when I read it, no details were provided, so I couldn't even make sense of what may have led to that. But I know about less than 2 weeks ago, a young lady was reported to have gone off the bridge. It was reported that, they said an unidentified young woman jumps off the Third Mainland Bridge and blah, blah, blah. All right. So I mean, I'm giving you a number of things here. I'm suggesting that manufacturers are complaining that they're losing too much. And so the implication of that is, of course, as I have mentioned, and maybe there's a lot more I haven't even touched on, but I think very necessary would be the quality of goods. And one, the availability, if you're not outpriced, and then the quality of it. And the quality really is even the conversation. It's like if you're eating foods that's not so nutritious, then we have another problem, which is a psychological problem on a social scale. Yeah. Is there anything we can do about fixing that problem? And today, nobody knows. All right. Before commercial break, it's 2 minutes, Nigeria. It's all right. I lost you. Hopefully, you'll make it back. How are you? Good afternoon to you. Look, the telephone lines have been something today. I'm not just going to complain about it. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, Joyce, good afternoon.
Thank you for calling.
This is Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
Thank God your voice is back. You're getting it back now. Thank God for that.
Go ahead.
Hello?
1 minute, 30 seconds.
Okay. Like I always say, we all are in for it. I avoid certain things because the product is not what it used to be. So I avoid a lot of things, Joy. And I see how people behave around my area here. I'll be wondering, any little thing they fled. So with all this explanation you are giving today, I come to realize, okay, is it why these people are behaving this way? It's only God will see us through. For this set of people who are running the affairs of this country, they are not ready. They are not ready. They just deceive Nigerians, and they succeeded in doing that to Nigerians.
All right.
We all are in for it. Thank you, Joyce.
I'm not even sure what that means, but thank you for calling. Joyce, this topic is very important to be discussed. What majority heart is, why behaving... no, I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean here. I'm sorry. You may have to rewrite it, please. I don't know what you mean because I can't quite make sense of it. Nigeria is indeed needs to. At this point, I may even be forced to conclude that you write so badly, and this is really just malnourishment. Come on now. This is... okay, I'm sorry. You have to rewrite that. We're going to go off on a break. We'll be right back. A few more messages here to be read. Please pardon me. Time is really all that we have to work with. We'll be right back. If you stay here, I may read your message when we return. Don't go anywhere.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
Suleiman is 11. He rolls a tire under the bridge in Akwonjo. Doesn't go to school. Everybody knows him as the boy that draws under the bridge. We find Suleiman, get him to lead him to his mom, take us to their house, dusty drawer with cobwebs. They open it. Some of Suleiman's paintings, she was smart enough to keep them. Took about 3 or 4 of them, brought them to the gallery. Now, Suleiman will go to school, send his siblings to school. That's the story of patronage. Yeah.
Plus 234 Art Fair 2025 holds from March 27th to 31st at the Pan African Center, brought to you by Soto Gallery and Echo Bank. Admission is free.
For 3 great seasons, the fans have fought with passion and fire. Their best they brought. The banter was bold, the debates were tight. Each word a weapon, each match a fight. But now it's bigger, the stakes much higher. The battle returns, and it's full of fire. Fan Battle 4 with Femi and Gang on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The stage is bang. In partnership with Sports Salon, we raise the game with glory, honor, and a shot at fame. Think you got what it takes to score? Then step right up. It's time for more. Register now and take your stand. Your time to shine is now at hand.
Registration is ongoing on www.nigeriainfo.fm.
And Battle 4. Let the battle begin.
Did you know that micro, small, and medium enterprises account for 96% of Nigeria's businesses and contribute to about half of the country's GDP? They also provide around 84% of all employment in the country. Want to know more? Join us on Board Street Drive, our new business show, 2:30 p.m. Mondays on Nigeria Info 99.3 FM. Let's talk.
Welcome back to your #1 talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
This message goes, "Hey Joyce, I think Nigerians are truly just not ready to face the bull by pulling it by the horn. Nigerians are hoping that if they avoid this problem long enough, they would be able to find a solution. But yes, I guess our lives are becoming a little too hard, where instead of having one problem, we're having multi-dimensional problems from one root problem. Anyways, I think it's very funny indeed that today's question, nobody has an answer for. We're getting to the end of ourselves. I don't even have a solution." Thank you for writing me. Hello, Joyce. You never read my messages. That's not true. I apologize if you've never heard me read it, but I do. I try. I'm going to work on this. I wish to meet you soon and get you to participate. Participate in what? I have a solution that will help millions of Nigerians. We cannot continue like this. We just have to do something. Shewade, hold on a sec. You don't have to meet me for your solution to be fruitful. Plus, what's the solution? First of all, so only 2 people today have called me with the possibility of having a solution, but yet you're hoarding it. What is the solution? If you can't say, there probably isn't any solution. You haven't even thought about it up until now. 1 more minute before top of the hour. Let me give it to you. Hello, welcome to the show. How are you? What's your name?
I'm pacifying.
1 minute.
I'm calling from Agbada.
Thank you for calling.
Somebody from the north, some time ago, gave a suggestion which will help this country.
Let's hear.
He said, open the treasurer, get food flooded in this country, and then open up a mechanized farm. There we have arable lands in the whole of this federation. Go to Ikogi, go to Edo, go to Badamatru, go to even Pantabisa Forest. We can get all these things, put mechanized farming into it. Get all these agros.
Nobody has done that. And you are how old now? 50 what? Nobody's done it. It's not even physics. It sounds easy, but nobody has done it. So in 10 seconds, tell me what you think the way forward is.
Get all these agros. Get everybody. Put them into that place. Get even the NYC. Get them into the farm. I'm assuring within 2 years, 3 years, we'll get out of this wahala.
Thank you very much.
God bless you and thank you very much. That is my case.
We've been saying the same thing and nothing's changed. All right, we're off.
With information comes power.
We give you more power with information.
99.3
Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
It's 2 o'clock. The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lagos, 12 inmates have escaped from the Federal Correctional Center in Koton-Karfe, Kogi State, while Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo has ordered an immediate investigation into the jailbreak. Police in Imo State have arrested 3 suspects linked to the kidnapping of 48-year-old Sabinus Ibe in Owerri. Whereas the Lagos State government plans to redesign the Oshodi Transport Interchange to integrate the rail mass transit system. Lagos is also ramping up sanitation efforts for a cleaner city. Lagos State Education Ministry urges school principals to improve students' performance in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, whereas a power outage has disrupted several embassies and residential estates in Abuja due to a technical fault. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has sued President Bola Tinubu over the suspension of Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara, his deputy, and state lawmakers. An explosion has hit the Soku oil facility in Akokotoru just days after a blast at the Trans-Niger pipeline in Bodo, whereas the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested a 42-year-old Indian woman at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport with 72 parcels of heroin disguised as chocolates. At least 10 members of the Zamfara State Community Protection Guards have been killed in an ambush by bandits in Anka local government area. And the Central Bank of Nigeria has rejected Governor Ademola Adeleke's nomination of ex-Finance Commissioner Boy Bolorunduro as the director of Osun-owned Living Trust Mortgage Bank. And medical sources say at least 21 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes across Gaza today. And that's it at this time, Lagos. You are listening to The Sunny Side with Joyce on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I am Yvonne Ohaifo. Thank you for your time.
Activate. Activate. We are radio active on 99.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Joyce.
What's that station again? No.
Here's one thing you need to know about yourself. So now here we talk.
Yep, bullseye. That's the one.
You're listening to 99.3 Nigeria Info's The Sunny Side. The Sunny Side. Welcome. My name's Joyce.
You must pardon me if I haven't read your messages, all right? Well, thank you. I know you understand that sometimes, it's really just that overwhelming, and I can only do as much as I can. Good. Thank you. 3 minutes past 2 p.m. Sunny Side. Okay, we have to segue to another conversation. 1, for sure, would be because, yes, it's time for another conversation, but 2, nobody knows. So here, just before we get into the other conversation, I think we're now left with the necessary confrontation of the way forward. I think leaving the country is one way forward, if you can afford it, which has been a method that many people have resorted to, and you can see people who can't pick their bags, clothes, home.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.